Good morning. It's Daze with Jordan. It's Daze with us. Daze with Jordan the Lion and Jaw. We might have to change the name of the show, right, Jaw? We have an odd day today, Jaw. And unfortunately, you're only going to be part of half of it. Well, here's what I'm going to wear today. Because Chris Paul is doing and he does them, about once a year. He does a public thing where he goes out and serves the community for Christmas. He actually does serving the community all year long, and he's one of the he's one of the few players that genuinely does it without needing the fanfare and the cameras and everything. He donates a lot of money. They've mentioned on Clipper broadcasts, like, discreetly to various charities. He's always a big part of every community he's in, and he's been nothing but a nice guy to me. A few years ago, when Chris Paul was traded to the Clippers, I went down to Kimmel. It was before I had any connections at Jimmy Kimmel. I was a super big fan of him when he was in New Orleans, and I was super excited he came here. So I bought his jersey online, pretty much like 2 days after we got him. And the day I got the jersey in the mail, I look online, and he was a surprise guest that's going to be on Kimmel. So I said, well, heck. I was in a big autograph collecting phase, if you couldn't tell. And I said, well, you know what? He's new to the area. If he's never going to sign an autograph, like, I understand, but today might be the day. If he's ever going to sign, it's going to be when he first comes to town. So I went out there. It was only like me and two other people. When Chris Paul came out, he looked down as he was walking out, and I was just like, hey, Chris, can I get a picture? And the security tried to, like, block him and usher him, and he actually put his arm up and he said, hey, I got time for my fans, to the security guard. And he walked over and he took a picture with all three of us and he signed autographs. I've met him, 4 or 5 times throughout my life. Once I had a connection at Kimmel, he'd been a guest on Kimmel 3 times, and every one of those times after, my friend got me in, and Chris Paul would see me. While he was in the green room, he would be passing through something, and he would see that I was wearing his shirt or my shoes, or his shoes, and he would actually walk over and say, thanks for wearing my stuff, man, and he would, like, give you the bro hug. And so I've always had a lot of respect for the guy. And then a couple of months ago, our announcer, Ralph Lawler, got a star on the Walk of Fame. Chris Paul came out there, and I had the original shoes that I got when Chris Paul became a Clipper. Now, I don't have a lot of money, and Air Jordans don't always cost a lot of money. So before you think that I'm like a scammer or whatnot, I think I've told you guys before, I go and buy my shoes at the Champs outlet down in Puente Hills, and I usually get my Chris Paul shoes once the new ones have been released. I get the old ones for about $60. So I had worn those shoes, and my girlfriend had gotten me a new pair for Christmas last year, so I retired the old pair. I went and cleaned them up really, really well and took them to that event. And as soon as the event was over, Chris Paul was doing an interview. He looked up and he saw my shoes and he pointed at me. And then he walked over and, same as always, he said, thanks for supporting me, my man. What can I sign for you? And he signed these shoes. And I'm one of the rarities. Most people that collect, like, signed basketball shoes, they only want them if they're new. But I actually, like, I wear mine because I never plan on selling these. I wear them, and then I buy this shoe cleaner called Jason Mark, and I clean them up real well. And Chris Paul signed these shoes. So, at one point, I had some Air Jordans that weren't Chris Paul's Air Jordans, and I was out on a hike, and they had the Air Max in the back. And the Air Max bubble blew up, and the shoe got like swollen around my foot, and I could almost not walk with it. So I wrote Air Jordan, and what they told me was that they said, look at the tongue, the tag under your tongue right here, and apparently they always have a date on them. And when they asked me what my serial number was and my date, they said that my shoes were a month and a half too old to be replaced. They would not replace them. So I was pretty pissed off, went on Facebook, found Chris Paul's brother, who I'm friends with on Facebook, and I just wrote him a message and just said, look, I know, I don't know if you guys can do anything about this, but I know Chris is sponsored by Air Jordan. I told him the story. And I said, if there's anything that you can help with, this is my phone number and this is my address. Never got a response back, but about a month later, all of a sudden, I get a knock at the door and I get a package in the mail. The package has no return address and it's made out to me. And when I open it up, it's this green pair of Air Jordans. These Chris Paul Air Jordans that I did not buy. In my size, they just randomly appeared. And when I looked into this, these are not a common pair. These were actually like a special edition Christmas pair. So I've never known whether Chris Paul or his brother sent them to me, but they showed up in my size with my name on the box, and I never paid for them. So what I did was, this blue pair is the pair that my girlfriend got me. That's the pair that I wear. I've worn out the tread on these, so I had some paint that was on here and on the side, and I used that magic erase, the little magic erase thing I showed you on the vlog yesterday. Cleaned it all up. And I'm going to take these shoes and see if I can get Chris to sign them for me. And I'll just retire them and keep them in the box, and someday I'll probably give them to somebody or put them on display or something, but that's a little bit of the breakdown as to why Chris Paul's a cool guy to me. I was getting pestered to death, so he got a treat early. He likes these little things that have beef jerky dried to him, and he just sits there and gnaws on them, using his little hands. Look at him. He thinks he's a person using his little digits. Well, we're headed to the park. First things first, priorities are priorities, and getting Jaw some fun is always top priority. And don't worry, this vlog won't all be basketball. I noticed that I don't get that many views when I have that kind of stuff. Part of the reason I wanted to go is I just thought it would be cool, like, to add some Christmas to my life. And this is taking place at the Grove/Farmers Market, which is a pretty famous place here in Los Angeles. And they always way overdo it for Christmas. And I really need that, because I haven't felt really any Christmas in my life yet. And Chris Paul's supposed to be reading like Christmas stories and stuff, so I just thought it'd be a fun, interesting thing for us to all see, and just who knows what could happen and who will be there. John and I are out running a few short little errands before I take off for the Grove. Beautiful day out here. Really crazy beautiful. If you're wondering why I said something about a scam earlier, it's because one of the recommended videos on my YouTube that I saw last night was this guy called Jimmy the Hobo. And I started watching his videos, and he says he's like a 48-year-old guy, I think, living in a van, and he's trying to get out of being homeless. And then all these videos pop up about what a scam he is, and how it's a fake, and how he actually has a house in the valley and not New Mexico. And I was just like, holy cow, like I wonder, you know, hope people don't think I'm like that, or, you know, you just never know. I guess people can create whatever kind of persona online they want, really. Somebody sent me a message yesterday, and they said that they really enjoy the fact that I don't talk about politics or get political or anything. Yeah, I don't plan to ever. I made a conscious effort, or a decision within like the first week of this thing, that even though sometimes in my real life I'm very satirically comical and cynical and everything, I wasn't going to let my channel be that way. You guys can have plenty of that in your own life, I'm sure. I wanted this to be like a positive place, and my thought was, if I'm always vlogging, then it'll just force me to be more positive in real life. And it's also why I don't cuss in my videos, even though I cuss outside of my videos. I just feel like it's one of those things that there's kind of no reason for it, and if I allow myself to do it a little bit, I'll do it a lot. So those are just a couple of like conscious efforts that I'm trying to make. I want it to be like a positive place where people enjoy going, where it's like fun, and not bring the drama into a channel. I do have a very extreme sense of humor. Like I do like extreme jokes, and
That's just like over the top stuff. That's just my personality, but I never try and, when I make a joke, I'm never really like trying to throw a hidden meaning in there. If I am, I'll actually say, actually I'm not joking. I usually will say that. This van's pretty cool to me. It's not A-Team, but it's kind of A-Team-ish with some of the little accoutrement on it. I like kind of offbeat stuff like that. I would love to go to a movie right now, but unfortunately that is not the case. We're going to the Kinko's once again, so I can print off the paperwork to get paid this weekend. Here's some of the Star Wars construction I was telling you guys about. You can kind of see the tops of like some of the spaceships right there. They have pretty high fences covering everything up, as well as right over here. I can't believe I never told you guys this story, but I thought of a funny story. Right here is the Metro train station that I always take. Actually, I take two of them. This is one of the two that I always take. And in Vincent Price's daughter's book, she told this really funny story that Vincent relayed to her throughout the rest of his life. But Vincent, Basil Rathbone, Boris Karloff, and Peter Lorre always would try and be in movies together so that they could always just be hanging out. And they would always try and do them like in some location where they wanted to vacation. So they basically got a free vacation out of it. But before this metro station was here, back in the golden age of Hollywood, there was a funeral home here. And when Bela Lugosi died, he was buried here. One of the stories that she told is Vincent, Basil Rathbone, Boris Karloff, and Peter Lorre were standing around the coffin saying goodbye to Bela Lugosi. And in a moment of silence, Peter Lorre looked up and said, "Should we drive a stake through his heart to make sure he's dead?" Absolutely classic. Classic. No props here, it just looks like red carpet stuff. Well, I'm at the Grove. I'm gonna have to talk a lot because they're playing a lot of music and I don't want to get the video flagged because I'm using somebody else's music. But be coming up here on the fountain here pretty soon. This is the looks like where Chris Paul will probably end up being. Last time I was here was probably like 4 years ago for when they did a Christmas here, and it's the same exact thing as it was then. I was using like an 8-megapixel camera then, I remember. The little Santa's Village, and you can see that the bears and the snowman and everything are kind of interactive. They all move around. I actually thought about coming up here on the night of the tree lighting because it's a big deal, but you can tell how wide this walkway is. It gets so jammed about 3 hours before that you kind of like just have to stand in place for 3 hours. And we tried to do it with my girlfriend last year. We did it for about 45 minutes and then we were like, this is not worth it when we can come and see the tree being lit every night. So we ended up not seeing it, but just give you a little view of what's going on here at the Grove. Kind of looks like I've gotten a little bit away from the music again. Oh, no, there it is. What's crazy about this place, oh, here's the trolley, is that this whole land, right as soon as we cross the street up here, it becomes the farmer's market. This whole land, way back in the early days of Hollywood, it was all a big oil field. And then when they got rid of the oil fields or whatever happened, like whenever they decided to quit using this for that, they built baseball fields. Thank you, you too. Merry Christmas.
Go Clippers!
Yeah, you know it. That's awesome. Everybody's really friendly here always. So when they built baseball fields here, and a lot of celebrities funded the team, and the team was called the Hollywood Stars. And all these grounds were just absolutely full of baseball fields, and you could come out and see. It wasn't obviously a MLB Major League Baseball team. It was like an independent circuit kind of team. But yeah, we're heading into the farmer's market. Looks like I got here a little early and nobody's really here doing the Chris Paul thing. It looks like he's gonna be taking pictures with people, so I'm just gonna keep walking through. And now we're in the farmer's market section, and this section's been like this forever. I mean, like various celebrities I've read in books where they would talk about, it was part of their like their ritual to come here and do their shopping here, because it's not a typical farmer's market, but it's, well, you'll see. I'll walk through it and show you. There's eateries in there. There's places where you can buy vegetables. There's places where you can just buy hats and weird nonsense. Route 66 backpacks. And I actually used to work in a kiosk over here. I had enough of one of my jobs, and one of the guys that I worked with was just real awful to be around, and everybody complained about him. Finally, I complained about him one too many times, and I just said, you know, like, halfway through talking to the head of human resources, I said, you know what? It's very apparent by the way you're answering my questions that you have no intention of ever doing anything about him, no matter what anybody complains about. And I said, I don't want to work for you anymore, and I quit. And the next day I got hired here. Not at this gas station, but this is an old replica of it. But see, here's a little bit of the history I was telling you about. Dairy farm to oil field. All the way back to 1987 or 1872. And then it was an oil company until the 40s. And then I know somewhere around here it'll say that it became a baseball field. And if it's not over here, I know exactly one place that they do have that. Gilmore Speedway. See, your old buddy Jordan wasn't just whistling Dixie here. Ooh, speaking of lions, Jordan the Lion. Let's wander on in. They have all kinds of little shops in here, lots of eateries. You can buy stuff like that for 10 bucks. Rams here. Like homemade chocolate shops, coffee, I mean, just anything you can imagine, you can pretty much get here. There's one place that's just all hot sauces. People, I've done it quite a few times where people come here and they just have their date here, they eat their dinner here. Here's a candy shop. See, they actually make it right in there. Caramel apples. Who doesn't love a good caramel apple? You buy a watch right next to where you buy your produce. And like I said, this has been here forever. Anybody that ever lived in this neighborhood, I've read multiple books, and I just can't think of them because at one point my aunt sent me a box of books from her collection, and she easily sent me 30 books or 40 books. And I read them all while I would take the bus to work and back. Sometimes all the information just kind of blends in. Like you forget exactly who did what or whatever. Sometimes I have to go back and re-reference it. Cool. I used to have a friend that when I worked over in the Grove, I had a friend that worked over here, and she worked in this pizza place over here, and she was like, come over anytime you want and I'll give you free food. And I did, and she did. She used to hook me up all the time. She ended up becoming an assistant to an agent. There's the gumbo place. Now, incidentally, this place is literally just on the other side of what's known as Television City. That's where The Price is Right's filmed. Carol Burnett show's filmed there. And when I went to a taping of Drew Carey, the announcer thought me and my friend were really funny and invited us over here to have a drink, and said that they all go over here to Maggiano's after every show and have a drink at the end of the night. So we went with them that night. Looks like you can buy a Christmas tree here. Oh, and incidentally, every bit of food that I just walked by smells amazing. I wonder if you would sign your son of your shoes. Check this out, man. How cool is this place? This is the French eatery, of course. It's so cool. You can hear the church bells going off. There's a candy shop over there. The poultry market. Somewhere over here is the hot sauce stand. Candied nuts. Christmas everything, sticker everything. Oh, you know what? Maybe the hot sauce place is gone. Oh no, it looks like there's another aisle. Okay. So maybe not. Well, let's go over to the other aisle, because you can kind of see what's over here. Oh, you guys know I love bracelets. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Look at all that hot sauce. Are you kidding me? Wall to wall. Oh, whoops. I just realized there was a sign that said no photos, so I got my footage and got out. You know how it is. See, there's another produce market over here. What's the name of the hot sauce place? If you ever want to come check it out while you're in town. Oh, also, a television city. It's where a lot of the soap operas are filmed. My friend Sean Kerrigan's in Young and the Restless there. So, we're going to head and go and get out of the farmer's market and hit the bathrooms. You guys don't have to go to that trip with me, but the reason I'm telling you that is because right over by the bathrooms is where the history about the baseball field is. And that's a really great ice cream place. Get your old time penny stamped here. Okay, here it is. See, once again, not lying. The late 30s, Gilmore Fields. Owned by Cecil B. DeMille and Barbara Stanwyck. There you go. Television City. There the guy's making the ice cream. There we go. There's some of the memorabilia I was telling you guys about from the field. And sorry you have to look at me. I'm trying to give you a little bit of footage of some of the history. Gilmore Stadium for the races. Wow, check that out. Isn't that crazy what's sometimes located in different places that you'd never know? And to think that this place has been a dairy, it's been an oil field, it's been a baseball field, now it's a farmer's market, and wow. Oh, looky there, an empty train. Check out these cool little fountains, little statue fountains. I'm hoping I can talk over this enough to where the music won't be an issue. So when I just up and randomly quit that job I told you guys about, this was the kiosk I got a job at the next day, and they offered me the management position after a week. There they go. On for the ride of their life. It's actually a pretty cool little trolley. The only problem with working here, when I did, was that they have an hour loop of music, so you hear the same songs every hour, and it was a lot of Dean Martin and Frank Sinatra. Oh wow, I never noticed those up there. All the time I worked here, I never noticed those up there. That is pretty cool. Cool hat. Awesome hat. Speaking of Chris Paul, looks like Frosty made it. You're the man, CP. Hey, good to see you. He's asking the kids why they all got cell phones. Nice. Just lit up the tree.
The night before Christmas. So what we'll do is, if y'all don't mind, I'll start out.
Okay.
Was the night before Christmas, all the way out. Now, the preacher was stirring, not even out.
That means like you take a bunch of like chicken buns and you sit down in your mouth. Then you take a bunch of things you're not using. Then you also you get for the food.
As I threw in my hand and was turning around down the chimney, St. Nicholas came with the sound. Why, thank you. You look amazing yourself, sir. You too. All right. 1, 2, 3.
Wow, they just lit the entire place up. All the trees and everything. Well, he was cool enough to sign it. It's kind of hard to see because I used yellow, and I thought it would pop out a little bit better, but he signed it. It's cool. For the record, he did look down to see what shoes I was wearing before he signed it. They were trying to usher him out of there really quick, and he saw me holding the shoes, looked down at my shoes, and then came over and signed it, so that was pretty cool. It's a cool little mural.